Listen, somewhere along the way, society sold us a lie. It told us that if you're not exhausted, you're not working hard enough. That if you have energy left at the end of the day, you must not be giving it your all. And because of that lie, too many people confuse burnout with strength. They think running on fumes is a sign of dedication. But let me tell you the truth. Burnout is not proof of strength. It's proof that you've been ignoring the signals your body and mind have been screaming at you. When your body ache is from stress, when your mind feels foggy, when your motivation is gone, that's not weakness. That's not laziness. That's your system saying, something's off. Just like a warning light on your car's dashboard, burnout is a flashing sign that you've been pushing beyond your limits for too long. Ignoring it doesn't make you tough. It makes you reckless with the most valuable resource you have, yourself. Strength isn't about how much pain you can take before you collapse. Real strength is knowing when to step back before you have to step back. It's the courage to rest, recover, and rebuild so you can come back stronger. Think about it. An elite athlete doesn't train at maximum intensity every single day. They know that without rest, their body will break down. So why do we think life is any different? The problem is we've glorified the grind. We've made hustle into a religion. People brag about how little they sleep, how many hours they work, how they're too busy to eat or take a break. But that's not power. That's a slow self-destruction dressed up as ambition. If you're running at full speed without stopping, you're not in control. The grind is controlling you. Here's what most people don't realize: burnout doesn't happen overnight. It creeps in. It starts small, a little more tired than usual, a little more irritable, a little less joy. You tell yourself, it's just a busy season. I'll rest later. But later never comes. And then one day, you wake up and realize you're empty. Your passion is gone. Your health is paying the price. And that's when you understand. It's too costly to ignore the warning signs. Choosing to stop before you crash isn't quitting. It's winning with wisdom. It's saying, I value my vision too much to destroy myself chasing it the wrong way. Burnout is a thief. It steals your creativity, your clarity, your joy, and worst of all, it makes you forget why you started in the first place. You can't lead, create, or love from a place of depletion. You've got to shift your mindset. Start seeing rest, boundaries, and recovery not as indulgences, but as fuel for greatness. When you protect your energy, you protect your dream. When you pace yourself, you go further. When you choose to recharge, you show the world that you are in command of your life, not at the mercy of its demands. That's not weakness. That's power. So hear me now. Burnout is not your destiny. The warning signs are not something to push through. They're something to pay attention to. You can choose differently. You can build a life where your strength isn't measured by how much you endure, but by how fully you live. And when you make that shift, you stop burning out and you start burning bright. Most people treat balance like it's a reward you earn after you've destroyed yourself. They say, once this busy season is over, I'll rest. Once I hit this goal, I'll take care of myself. But let me tell you, that thinking is backwards. Balance isn't something you sprinkle on top of a burnt-out life. Balance is the strategy that prevents burnout in the first place. It's the operating system that allows you to perform at your highest level for the longest time. When you think of balance as a luxury, you give yourself permission to postpone it. And in doing so, you sabotage your own performance. Imagine a high-performance race car. Would you wait until the engine is smoking and the tires are shredded before pulling into the pit stop? Of course not. You plan those stops strategically so the car can finish the race. Your life is no different. Balance is your pit stop. Without it, you don't finish strong. You break down early. Here's the truth. Balance is not about doing less. It's about doing the right things at the right time with the right energy. It's about being intentional with your yeses and your nos. When you get strategic about balance, you stop wasting time on distractions, on obligations that drain you, and on activities that look productive but move you nowhere. That's not slowing down. That's speeding up your results. High achievers often resist balance because they think it means lowering ambition. But balance doesn't take away your drive. It focuses it. Think of it like a laser. A flashlight spreads light everywhere, but a laser channels all its energy in one direction. That's what strategic balance does. It channels your focus so powerfully that you can accomplish more in less time, with less stress. When you make balance part of your plan, you stop living in extremes. You stop swinging between all in and burned out. Instead, you create a rhythm, a sustainable pace where you can push hard and then recover fully. This rhythm is what separates people who last from people who crash. It's the difference between a sprinter who burns out after 100 meters and a marathoner who finishes strong, still smiling. And here's something most people overlook. Balance actually accelerates growth. When you're rested, your brain works better. You make sharper decisions. You solve problems faster. You communicate more effectively. You lead with more confidence. You can be present with your family without secretly thinking about your to-do list. Balance gives you back the energy to live life on all levels, not just work. So I want you to stop thinking of balance as optional or something for later. Balance is not a weekend getaway. Balance is not a bubble bath after a hard week. Balance is how you design your days, your weeks, and your life so that you are operating at your peak without draining your core. It's the system that ensures you can keep showing up for your goals, your loved ones, and yourself. Remember, this burnout is the enemy of longevity, and balance is the weapon you use to defeat it. The people who win in life are not the ones who go the fastest for the shortest time. They're the ones who can keep going, full of energy, year after year. That's the power of treating balance like a strategy. It's how she chose not just to survive her journey, but to thrive in it. And it's how you can too. Let's get real. So many people are drowning in overwhelm, not because they don't have enough time, but because they're spending their time on things that don't matter. And the number one reason, they don't know how to say no. They're saying yes out of fear. Fear of disappointing someone, fear of missing out, fear of not looking like a team player. But here's the truth: every time you say yes to something that doesn't serve your vision, you are saying no to the things that do. Saying no is not about being rude. It's not about shutting people out. It's about honoring your capacity and protecting your priorities. When she chose balance over burnout, she realized she couldn't keep scattering her energy in every direction and expect to move forward. She had to get ruthless about where her time, focus, and heart were going. And that meant learning the art of the graceful, unapologetic no. Every no you speak to someone else is actually a yes to yourself. Yes to your health. Yes to your dreams. Yes to your sanity. It's an act of self-respect because it says, I know my limits. I know my mission, and I will not compromise them for approval. If you don't respect your own boundaries, no one else will. Here's the dangerous cycle. When you keep saying yes to everything, you dilute your power. You end up overcommitted, under-rested, and resentful. You show up to things half-present, wishing you were somewhere else. That's not service. That's self-betrayal. And when you betray yourself enough times, you stop trusting your own decisions. That's how burnout wins. The moment she started saying no to the wrong things, something magical happened. The right things started showing up. The doors that actually aligned with her vision swung wide open because she finally had the energy and focus to walk through them. That's the irony. Saying no doesn't close off your life. It creates space for the life you actually want. But make no mistake, saying no takes courage. You will have people who don't understand. You will disappoint others. And that's okay. You are not here to live someone else's version of your life. You are here to live yours. The people who truly value you will respect your boundaries. The ones who don't were never rooting for you in the first place. When you master the power of no, you start moving with intention. You become the author of your calendar instead of its victim. You stop letting guilt dictate your choices, and you start letting purpose lead the way. And with every decision that aligns with your values, your confidence grows, because you know you're building a life on your terms. So hear this: no is not a wall, it's a filter. It keeps out the noise so your life can be filled with the music that matters. She learned that balance was impossible without it. And once she embraced it, burnout didn't stand a chance. We live in a world that worships business. People equate a packed calendar with progress. But here's the trap. You can be busy all day and still move nowhere. Activity does not equal achievement. She had to learn that productivity isn't about how much you do. It's about how well you do it. And the secret ingredient: presence. Presence is about being all in right here, right now. It's about giving 100% of yourself to the task in front of you instead of splitting your focus across a dozen things. When you're truly present, you stop multitasking your life away. You stop half listening to your loved ones while your mind races through your to-do list. You stop starting projects with one hand while answering emails with the other. Here's the truth. Multitasking is a myth. Your brain isn't designed to focus on multiple things at once. Every time you switch tasks, you lose time and energy. You think you're being productive, but really you're just burning fuel faster. Presence is the opposite of that. It's focused energy. It's laser clarity. And that's where real results come from. When she redefined productivity around presence, something amazing happened. She started getting more done in less time. Why? Because when you're fully present, you work with intention. You see solutions faster. You make better decisions. You actually finish what you start instead of scattering your energy in 10 directions and never crossing the finish line. But here's the kicker. Presence isn't just about work. It's about life. It's about actually tasting your coffee in the morning instead of gulping it down while scrolling your phone. It's about looking your kids in the eyes when they tell you about their day. It's about being with your partner in the moment, not thinking about tomorrow's meeting. That's the kind of productivity that builds not just success, but fulfillment. True productivity should enhance your life, not consume it. If your productivity leaves you constantly distracted, drained, and disconnected from the people you love, that's not success. That's burnout in disguise. Presence makes sure your achievements actually mean something because you were there to experience them. And here's the best part. Presence is a skill. You can train it. It starts with intention, choosing to give your full attention to one thing at a time. Turn off the noise. Silence the distractions. Decide that where you are is exactly where you need to be. That choice alone will transform your energy, your results, and your relationships. She learned that a life of balance isn't measured by how many boxes you check off, but by how deeply you live each moment. Redefining productivity around presence turned her from a burnt-out overachiever into a fully engaged creator of her own life. And when you master presence, burnout can't touch you, because you're not just surviving your days, you're truly living them. Here's the problem with how most people think about balance. They picture it like a scale that's perfectly even all the time. And when their life doesn't look like that, they think they've failed. But let me tell you, that's not how real life works. Balance isn't a frozen state. It's not perfection. Balance is fluid. It's about knowing when to lean in and when to pull back. Life moves in seasons. There will be times when your work demands more of you and times when your family needs your full attention. There will be weeks when you push hard toward a goal and weeks when you slow down to rest and recharge. The mistake is believing that balance means giving equal energy to everything every single day. It doesn't. It means giving the right energy to the right thing in the moment. When she chose balance over burnout, she stopped chasing the illusion of a perfect split between work, health, relationships, and personal growth. Instead, she started listening to her body, to her mind, to the season she was in. Some days that meant working late to meet a deadline. Other days it meant shutting the laptop at 3 p.m. to take a walk in the sun. That's fluid balance. The truth is, rigid balance breaks under pressure. If you're trying to force a perfect structure every day, life will knock it down. But when your idea of balance is flexible, you can adapt. You can bend without breaking. And that adaptability is what keeps you steady in the long run. Think about a surfer. They're never standing perfectly still on the board. They're constantly shifting their weight, adjusting to the movement of the waves. That's why they stay upright. Balance in life works the same way. It's a constant dance of adjusting and realigning. The people who resist change get knocked over. The people who flow with it stay standing. This mindset shift also takes away the guilt. So many people beat themselves up for not being balanced enough. But when you understand that balance is fluid, you stop expecting perfection and start practicing alignment. You stop asking, am I balanced today? And start asking, am I balanced in the bigger picture? That's the question that matters. And here's the key. Fluid balance doesn't just protect you from burnout, it makes your life richer. It allows you to be fully engaged in whatever season you're in without feeling like you should be somewhere else. It lets you go all in when it's time to push and fully rest when it's time to pause, knowing that both are essential for the long game. She learned that balance isn't about getting everything equal. It's about getting everything in rhythm. And when you live in rhythm, you're no longer fighting against the current of life. You're moving with it. That's where power is. That's where peace is. And that's how burnout loses its grip. So here's my challenge to you. Stop wearing burnout like a badge. Stop treating balance like a luxury you'll get to someday. Someday is a lie. You have to decide now, because every day you delay, you're burning the fuel your future self will need. Your dream is not just a goal on paper. It's a vision for a life worth living. And if you want that life, you have to protect the vessel that's going to create it. Balance is not weakness. It's not quitting. It's not less ambition. Balance is how you stay in the game long enough to win big and live bigger. There will always be people who tell you to go harder, push faster, do more. But listen, more isn't the answer. Better is the answer. Smarter is the answer. Sustained is the answer. And that comes from choosing balance every single day. The truth is, the world doesn't need more burnt-out dreamers. The world needs people who are on fire, not from exhaustion, but from passion. People who can light the way for others because they've fueled themselves first. She chose balance over burnout. She chose to protect her dream, her health, her joy. And because of that choice, she didn't just survive her journey. She thrived in it. That's the choice in front of you right now. So take a breath. Look at your life and make the decision she made, the decision to protect the dream by protecting yourself. Because when you do that, you won't just achieve your goals. You'll have the energy, the presence, and the heart to fully live them. And that is what winning really looks like.